Hello and welcome to another episode of Blue Alpine TV. In today's episode, we will talk about big banks and big investment companies talking about regulation and governance. We'll talk about some news out of China and we'll look into why certain cryptocurrencies jump the way they do. If we look at the coin market cap, one of those coins is Dent, and we will look at why this huge jump was made. But first of all, let's have a look at general market. So Bitcoin and Ethereum is kind of struggling. So the market doesn't really want to properly recover, and it could actually be related to some of the news that's coming out of China. Another interesting fact here, almost all or mainly the Chinese coins are making positives here. So NEO is getting up 7%. Quantum is getting close to 1%, and I think Walton is also from China getting a strong 9%. So it looks like some coins out of China are actually making good percentage gains, and Bitcoin, Ethereum, and like the big coins are still a bit struggling. But let's jump right into the first news story. So Deutsche Bank required governance for crypto could arrive by 2023. The chief investment officer or office head, Markus Müller, he said from Deutsche Bank he has suggested that governance could actually legitimize crypto investments, and that could invest within 5 to 10 years. He's saying that it's possible that the required governance will be in existence in 5 to 10 years. Now, this is so the banks are slowly but surely switching towards going from this is an absolute bubble to this is used by criminals to maybe we'll use it or maybe we'll use it in the future. So I think this is positive news. Obviously, as a bank, they can't allow to react in a negative way to the market, so that they don't represent what the market actually wants. So if their customers actually want to trade cryptocurrencies, whether it is an established asset class or not an established asset class, or whether it's a currency or not a currency, that doesn't interest the customer in the end. The customer just wants to invest somehow, and the banks have to react to this. So he's slowly, so the opinion is slowly changing. He's saying that as soon as governance, regulation, the rules, like as soon as the rules and the framework is here, we are not against using cryptocurrencies in any way or actually offering this as a potential to invest for our clients. Now, another interesting bit of news here is the world's largest investment company, Interesting Bitcoin, is under close review. So Isabel Mateos y Lago, she is the chief multi-asset strategist at BlackRock, which is one of the biggest investment management companies worldwide. They have 5.7 trillion US dollars in assets under management, and she has said that they are really observing Bitcoin. They are keeping an eye on Bitcoin at the price, at the volatility, what really happens with cryptocurrencies. So they are definitely observing what is happening here. And what is also cool is that they didn't exactly say that it's something negative. So they said it's interesting development. That's, in my opinion, a bit of code word of saying we still can't play with cryptocurrencies, but we are keeping a close eye on it, because when the market actually wants us to do so, we will have to do it. And this is a bit contrary to the BlackRock CEO, Larry Fink, who last week went on record at the World Economic Forum in Davos to describe the space as an index of money laundering, and previously implied he had no plans to enter the future Bitcoin ETF arena. So as we've mentioned in the previous episodes, Bitcoin ETFs will come. Cryptocurrency ETFs will come as well. The question is, who will start and how broad will they be available. So if a company like BlackRock is deciding to launch kind of an ETF or to be like a pioneer in that regard, this will definitely change the market in a very positive way. So it maybe won't be BlackRock as the pioneer. Maybe it will be a different bank, maybe a smaller bank, bigger bank. That still remains to be seen. But this chief multi-asset strategist, she's still saying that the fact that interest has persisted despite these repeated hacks, despite regulators waking up and trying to catch up with this new development and gradually weeding out all the illegal uses, suggest that there is really something to it. So they realize that hacks and problems and volatility and all of these negative news don't really faze the people who believe in cryptocurrencies and the blockchain technology long term. As you know, we always suggest to people that when they invest in cryptocurrencies, they should do so with a long-term horizon and really invest into the fundamentals of the coins versus the price and the volatility. I think that's very important. And the market really shows that the strong investors, that the people who really believe in this technology, are not fazed by the price in any way. And she's referring actually to those kinds of people. And this is interesting to her, obviously, as well, because they're looking at Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general, and they do see a new asset class coming up for them to sell to their customers. So on one side, there is the banks that are afraid that blockchain technology might actually make them somewhat obsolete. But on the other side, you also have the banks who are actually interested in cryptocurrencies to sell it as an asset to their customers. And both perspectives are really interesting. And you kind of see with the big banks this dynamic going on. So some big bank is coming out and saying, no, cryptocurrencies, we're not touching that. This is money laundering, illegal, whatever. And the other banks who say, well, it's kind of interesting and we're looking at it. But none really come out and say, yeah, we're supporting this 100%. And so this definitely is an interesting dynamic that we should keep in mind. As soon as the bank's opinions will change about these topics and they will start looking at this as an investable asset, then the market will really shift. And but this will probably require some regulation, some framework, some rule framework around it before we can really start. Now, here, the next news could be one of the reasons why Bitcoin and Ethereum and generally the market is a bit struggling. So the Chinese Finance Association cautious on overseas cryptocurrency trading and ICOs. So there is this organization, the National Internet Finance Association of China, which is, as the article says, a major self-regulated internet finance guild. And they have issued kind of a notice to the people of China saying that be wary of the risks that are involved when you invest in cryptocurrencies, as well as ICOs. But ICOs have been banned already in September 2017 by the National Bank, the People's Bank of China. And so ICOs are banned. But still, cryptocurrency trading is going on. As you know, a majority of the mining, especially of Bitcoin, is done in China. And it will get regulated somehow. So China is trying to regulate this. The reason for this could be on one side that the ecological impact is quite high of Bitcoin mining, and China doesn't really want the pressure from outside regarding this. So that could be one of the reasons of the crackdown. And the other reasons could be obviously that they want to keep some kind of control over the mining, over the cryptocurrencies, over ICOs and all of these things. So I believe there are two outcomes here, but let's say what the notice says. Investors should be alert to risks from overseas ICOs transactions, as some of the transaction platforms have been shut down and others restricted from logging on. As there are no specific regulations, overseas ICOs transaction platforms face risk in system security, market manipulation, and money laundering. Now, The reason why they would come out and say something like this, so there are two potential reasons. One of the reasons is a more noble one, that they actually care about the people, that the government tries to protect people from fraud, from illegal money laundering, from illegal stuff going on with their money. And the other part is that they want to get a part of the action as well. I think the truth will lie somewhere probably in the middle, that in some way, China is trying to protect its people, but on the other hand, they are also seeing that regulating this market and building the framework around it could actually bring a lot of tax money, a lot of interest as well from international wise. So as soon as it's in some kind of control, they could also build the infrastructure, the framework for international companies to come to China and actually build their companies in China. So it will stay interesting. So China is definitely, when China is saying something, when we get news from China, this always influences the market, especially in short term. So I don't think China will ban cryptocurrencies as a total. I think there will be some kind of regulation, maybe even some invitation to international companies to actually launch from China or start in China. It's not clear yet. For the time being, I think a lot of Chinese companies will set up shop in Singapore, set up their foundation in Singapore, similar to Quantum or other countries. But for now, the news out of China will stay interesting. So we'll definitely see some changes there. As we always say, invest into the fundamentals, not the price, not the news. If you believe in the fundamentals, the numbers will add up in the end anyway. Now, as I've mentioned in the beginning, one of the big winners of the last 24 hours was Dent coin. Now, I don't want to make a full-blown analysis here in this video, but a 28 to 30% gain was actually quite interesting. And if we look at the website, and just to give it's a worldwide mobile data marketplace, so you can buy and sell mobile data, which is especially in Europe kind of a problem still, because of roaming, and mobile data is still an issue cost-wise. So they are building this platform and using Dent coin or this Dent token in order to buy and share this. So they even have an app out yet, so this is quite interesting. However, this is not about the product, not about the company. If we look into the news, so Dent Wireless establishes new operations center in Singapore, creates 20 new jobs. This was from 22nd of January. Now, this was already baked in the price, so this probably wasn't the main cause. The app was also probably already released. And if we go on Reddit and we check out the subreddit from Dentcoin, we can see one of the biggest news stories here is Dent to be listed on OKX, the third largest exchange. And it was posted about 12 hours ago. Now, if we look at the price, this is the daily here. And this is more or less about 12 hours ago. So around 8 or 9, this huge jump came and it started going up again. So sometimes the price jumps are quite irrational. Sometimes the news are already baked into the price, and you can't really always buy coins based on the news that will come out or based on your expectations. We've also seen with Ripple, for example, that before the big crash, Bloody Tuesday, Bloody Wednesday, Ripple was going quite crazy as well. So even if we go just one on the 1 month chart here, Ripple was around 360. And I remember from going through the Telegram groups, from researching and all of these things, that people actually expected that Ripple will be listed on Coinbase any moment now. And this was a major price factor or price growth factor here that actually made that huge jump. So obviously, if we look at the top 3 coins or top 5 coins, Ripple is one of the cheapest, with the exception of Cardano here. But Ripple is and was one of the cheapest. So that was always a reason why people buy the coin, because a Bitcoin of 11,000 or 15,000, 20,000 seems unattainable. So that was definitely one part. But the other part was always that the news was saying potentially Ripple could be listed on Coinbase, and that could mean a huge jump, because a greater market means higher demand from people that are actually looking to buy cheap coins. So my neutral opinion here, without judging Dent in any way, because we haven't done any analysis on Dent, is that, for example, a price jump like this could be because it has been listed on an exchange. And in order to find that out, check out the subreddits, check out the Telegram groups. All of these things you have to take into consideration when you're doing analysis. And whether you're doing long-term analysis or short-term analysis, definitely make sure that the resources you're getting are legit. In our case, when we do analysis papers on the top 20 or top 50 coins that we publish on bluealpineresearch.com, we always make sure that we link the references, that our points and arguments are backed by a source, that you can actually read up on it and learn and dig even deeper into the point or argument that we've made. So definitely make sure to check out all the different communities as well when you're doing research. We do that for you at Blue Alpine Research, so make sure to check out bluealpineresearch.com and give it a read. And yeah, with that, I would like to end today's episode. I will see you tomorrow. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. It really helps spreading the message. And yeah, I'll see you tomorrow. Bye.